Good morning, everyone. This is Sally from englishmatters.co.uk. So I am here to teach you the uses of, let me just share my screen with you. Bear with me. Hang on a minute. Why isn't it sharing? Okay, there you go. So we are going to learn about the uses of in spite of, despite, and although. So when do we use these three words here? All three are used to show contrast and are used for the same meaning. The only difference is the way they are used, the structure in which, of course, they are used. So we will start with these two here, in spite of and despite. We can immediately see the difference between these two here. In spite of, there is always off with in spite, but despite, we don't use it with off. Okay, so I have an example here. We had a great time in spite of the bad weather. So what is the bad weather here? As you can see, the weather here is a noun. So we use in spite of plus despite plus a noun. There you go. So if we use it with despite the bad weather, we put a comma. We had some great time. Okay, I can also use, of course, despite in the middle of my sentence. So I will start with, we had some great time despite the bad weather. Bear with me because I am writing the sentences as we go along. I'm making up all the sentences as we go along. So here, despite the bad weather, we had some great time. As you can notice here, there is a comma. But if it's in the middle of your sentence, of course, there isn't any comma. So we can also, of course, change the position of this. We had a great time in spite of the bad weather, or in spite of the bad weather, comma, we had a great time, or we had some great time. So in spite of, despite, plus a noun. And we also use these two with a pronoun, with a possessive pronoun. So when do we use a possessive pronoun? Or what are possessive pronouns? Possessive pronouns are their, for example, of course, his, its, your, my. Those are your possessive pronouns. They show ownership. That's why we call them possessive pronouns. Or they can be possessive adjectives as well. So I'll give you an example. Despite their being late, they still manage to pass the exams. Okay. So again, bear with me because I am making up all the sentences as we go along. Despite their being late, as you can see here, this is a possessive pronoun. Let me just put a color. So there is a, you can see the difference here. Despite their being late, they still manage to pass the exams. Again, of course, you can put despite in the middle of your sentence, but if you do that, there is no comma. So they managed to pass the exams despite their being late. So we can also use, of course, in spite of their being late, they still managed to pass the exams. So if we use in spite of, there is of. Despite without of. Okay. When else can we use in spite of and despite? We can use these two with ing as well, or we call them gerund. They are verbs, but functioning as nouns. Okay, so if I say, despite studying hard, she failed the exams. Okay, despite studying hard, comma, she failed the exams. Of course, you don't say comma, of course, when you are saying it in the normal way. But because I just want to emphasize the use of comma here, despite studying hard, she failed the exams, or she failed the exams despite studying hard. So the ing here is called a gerund. So that is your gerund. We call it a gerund. Again, I will put it here. So we use it with a gerund. So the same thing, of course, with in spite of. In spite of studying hard, she failed the exams, or she failed the exams in spite of studying hard. Okay, there you go. So just a very quick summary of these two, in spite of and despite. We use these two with a noun, with a possessive pronoun, and of course your ing form or your gerund. Now we move on to although. When do we use although? Hang on a minute. Let me just, okay. Although plus a noun. Okay. I'll give an example. We had some great time. I'd like to use the same example here so you can see the difference. We had some great time, although. There you go. Although it rained hard. Okay, we had some great time, although it rained hard. So where is your noun here? Noun, I forgot to put as a subject. Okay, it can be a noun or a pronoun, but it has to be a subject. And what is a subject? Subject is a part of the sentence which is being talked about. So in this case here, if we read this sentence, it rained hard, this is already a complete sentence. So your subject here is it, because it's the one being talked about. It. That is, of course, is called a subject pronoun. So I will give you an example where we can use a subject as a noun. Okay. Although Maria was late, she still passed the exams. Okay, in this example here, although Maria was late, she still passed the exams. So Maria is your subject. It's a noun. Again, what is a noun? A noun or nouns are names of people, places, things, animals, ideas. So they are nouns, but this is your subject. Why is it the subject? Because if you say Maria was late, that's your full sentence here, without, of course, the use of although. Maria was late. That's already a complete sentence. It has a complete thought already. So in this case, Maria is your subject. So we use although plus subject, or although, of course, plus your subject pronoun. We can use it in the middle. If we use it in the middle, there is no comma. If you use it, of course, at the beginning of your sentence, then there is a comma. So there you go. That's the lesson for today. So just a very quick summary of the lesson. In spite of and despite, in spite of, always together. They're always together. Despite without of. We don't use despite with of. Again, we use this with nouns, with possessive pronouns, and with gerunds, or the ing form of your verb. And we use although, of course, with nouns and pronouns, but they must be subjects. What are your subject pronouns? I, we, you, they, she, he, it. They are your subject pronouns. There you go. I hope you learned something today and have a lovely day. Again, this is Sally from EnglishMatters.co.uk.